Hey guys, and welcome back to the Path to Exile podcast, episode 15, partnered with Mobalytics. I'm Kyle Torak, and joining me per usual is Miso Shiro and Dead Rabbit. Reminder that we do have our audio-only formats on both Spotify and Apple Music. We're gonna dive into some bro talk real quick, but we do have a fun announcement that we'll be talking about shortly. But yeah, what have you guys been up to the last week? I got a haircut today, and part of the reason the podcast is late is because of that. My barber and I were talking about RuneScape, so you know.
That's fun.
That's why we're a little bit late. We got the sailing update coming out soon. I don't know if and how many of you guys played RuneScape, but sailing's coming out. Might be fun. I don't know how much I'm going to be playing it, but that's what we were talking about with my barber. But my last week has not been very eventful. Oh, I did play PoE 1 actually. I forgot we should talk about that. But Rabbit, what have you been up to, man? I know you've been playing Fellowship.
Yes. On the RuneScape thing, I think my life would have been a lot different if I discovered RuneScape at any point in my life. I think my life would have been extremely
I'm glad
different.
I discovered it at 35 because if I discovered it earlier, it would have been bad.
Same. From everything that I've seen about RuneScape, I am very, very happy that I've not discovered that when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. I think I would probably there would not be a Path to Exile podcast with Dead Rabbit today. I think I would probably be in the coal mines or whatever. But yeah, from everything that I've seen, it would probably be a game that I would absolutely love, and at some point I'll probably still get into it. So, but
Yeah.
what are you saying?
The difference. So I was in my mind. I'm like, well, you guys were WoW players, so you guys got sucked into a different, whole rabbit hole. But the thing is, right? WoW went like this over time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But RuneScape has been like pretty
crazy, right?
Yeah, it's been like this or maybe like this.
It just hit a little bit of player base like a couple weeks ago. It hit the highest player base it's ever had. To me. That is insane.
Yeah.
So that is so crazy to me.
So in my mind, I was like, well, you fell into a different rabbit hole, but it's like, well, that rabbit hole unfortunately just got turned into an absolute like black hole, whereas RuneScape has been continuing to thrive. So there is a chance that if you got into RuneScape back in the day, you could still be just like like you said, in the coal mine, just going at it. So it's possible. I on the other hand was a Maple Story kid.
Sorry.
I was a Maple Story and RuneScape kid, so I did play RuneScape back in the day, but I didn't ever get that sucked in.
I played Maple Story too. Maple Story was fun.
Same. Also, no time. Literally, like you just said, my day was occupied by a lot of World of Warcraft and a lot of Diablo 2, actually. But yeah, speaking of rabbit holes, my last week has mainly been Fellowship. I don't know how many in the comments or whatever. I think it would be an adjacent game. I think there is like a big, there is probably larger overlap on a game like Fellowship, which is very, very adjacent to World of Warcraft. There's like a much larger overlap than I would say to like a FPS game or something. So I'm guessing a lot of people in chat have also played it. But yeah, Fellowship is amazing. That's what I've been playing. It's my perfect PoE 2 off-season since I'm not playing PoE 1 this league, since I'll be going on vacation tomorrow. So Fellowship has been filling that void amazingly. So I'm very, very, I'm a happy camper.
As a non-WoW person, Fellowship doesn't hit the same beats and nostalgia as it would for you guys.
I've always wondered that. That's like when I enjoy Fellowship. Like obviously my profile picture is my gnome, so like I'm a big WoW guy. Like I'm itching to dive back into WoW. There's like rumors about a bunch of WoW stuff coming from a leak, but like I'm super hyped about WoW. Like still to this day, but yeah, it's just I don't think anyone who hasn't played WoW could enjoy that game to the level a WoW player does. Like maybe like a Final Fantasy 14 player or other like MMOs that are of that vein, but like the Trinity, right? They call it the Trinity of tank healer DPS. Like if you haven't played that kind of game, you probably won't like Fellowship, right? Like
I mean, it's not that you won't like it, but it probably won't like hit the same, core.
Right, yeah.
It, especially for someone who has played it, it just scratches the itch so perfectly, because it's just literally, it's so perfect because the progression is just that you just go in, you get it, it's done. There's nothing else. I think if you haven't had any contact with that in World of Warcraft before or whatever game it is, I think it won't feel the same. I would honestly say, I think for Fellowship, I would confidently say that at least 90% of players that are playing the game right now have definitely played World of Warcraft before, I would say. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't get into it without having played World of Warcraft before. I just think the ledge is just much higher.
It's still only in early access, by the way. So like it's
it's
going
amazing.
to improve a lot over time.
I thought it was out.
Yeah.
Nope, early access.
It's amazing. I'm having so much fun.
I was in the early
was
test.
thinking
It's changed a lot over time. Like
Yeah.
like the rate they're improving. If they keep improving, it's like one of those things where it's like if they keep doing what they're doing with the rate they're improving, the game's going to just be so good. But you didn't play any PoE1, right?
Nope. I wasn't here for the PoE1 launch weekend, so it launched on Friday. I wasn't here for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then I knew that on Thursday, which is today, would basically be the last day that I could also play. So I could have played for like 3 days, also 3 days after the launch. And then now, starting from tomorrow, I'll be gone for 2 weeks again. And that is not the League experience that I'm after. I would say I'll probably check it out a little bit, but probably when I'm gonna be back after 2 weeks, I'd probably just do some more PoE2 stuff, like do some SSF, do some HD SSF. Maybe if we get some teasers for announcements or whatever, there might be end of November. There might be a time to like already start looking at campaign a little bit again and start practicing your campaign runs or whatever. That's what at least I did last league in preparation, or last league in preparation for this league. I did like 1 week of just campaign practicing and whatever. So I really hope that when I'm back in 2 weeks that we at least have an inkling of what we're getting. I mean, we talked at length about the whole situation on the last episode about everything that my worries are for when the new league is actually going to hit. So I really hope, and my absolute biggest hope is that we get a fully fledged or like the 0.4 update before Christmas. So yeah,
my entire
in
community
that case,
thinks that. Like I said that I didn't think it was going to be in January in my Discord, and everyone's like, no. They're gonna force it out before Christmas. Like that. Like I'm in the minority thinking that. Like we're in the minority thinking it might be late. So
yeah, I really hope it will come before Christmas. And we're gonna talk about like the mid-league patches and whatever. And it is basically like in Dawn of the Hunt and the league we had now. It was basically the same, which is for me personally kind of crazy for an early access game like this. That we have a league launch, a patch, let's say 0.3 patch, that we have one patch after that, 0.31, and that's it. And judging by that, just in my personal opinion, it should, in my opinion, mean that everything after 0.31, or even like before they pushed out the 0.31 patch, it means that they are, the focus now is 0.4. And if they then absolutely just concentrated on 0.4, I think it's definitely possible they can push it out before Christmas. So I'm very, very hopeful. And we're going to talk about the whole thing about like the mid-league patches and whatever. So that's for later.
Yeah. I mean, I luckily, well, timing wise, it's a little bit interesting for me because I'm going to be in Japan starting on the 19th of November. Well, I'm leaving here on the 18th, right? And then I'll be in Japan until the 6th of December, which
oh,
the
boy.
6th of December is going to be
the exact one year anniversary.
Yep. And it's going to be the week before the potential release of patch 0.4, which means I will try my best to stream the live stream if they do it during that week. And I'll try to keep up the content while I'm there for like the pre-release and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to try to do my best with making content while I'm in Japan. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But luckily and hopefully, if they do release it in December, it will be on the 12th, which is the second week of December, which I will be back for.
I think that would
timing
make the most
just
sense.
screams like you're going to be still in Japan when at least the first inklings start leaking out.
Oh, 100%. That was expected. That was expected.
Unless it's delayed, which again, everyone is telling, like, to me, it's just the timing of, like, PoE 1 just dropped. It hasn't even been a week, and we're talking about PoE 2's next patch already, like, big patch. Like, that just, like, it seems just so fast to me, and, yeah.
Yeah, I think that had to do with the fact that PoE's league, PoE 2's league, was like 5 months last league. So it pushed everything back by a month.
Yeah.
Normally there would be a 2 month gap between, but this time there is a 1 month ish gap, right? Because it was
and then going
October.
forward, they won't run into that again. It just like you're gonna have to like bite that. Like 1 month has to be shaved off somewhere to restabilize, right? And
yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be a hit to PoE 1 league or if it's going to be a delay to PoE 2 league. I don't know.
I think what Rabbit said makes the most sense. Like, if this is the timeline, right, and we're getting a patch early December to mid-December, you don't do 0.32. You don't do it. You focus on 0.4. Like you just say you got PoE 1 done, it's stabilized. Now we're doing 0.4. I feel like if that's their, like that would have to be what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, actually, it's like now that I'm thinking about it, right? Because of the whole, it just there's so many things that are just like, it could go this way, but also could go that way. There's like reasons for both, right? Like if we wanted to resync everything, we'd have to delay. Actually, would it be a delay for another league, or what would it be to get like the timings back together?
I think you have to release this one in December. Like this one would just have to be like there'd be a close time between the PoE 1 and PoE 2 leagues, like what we were talking about. Like that would, and then that would give them more time between the next PoE 1 league, where like they could get that back on that schedule, right?
If you do PoE, if you do 0.4 like end of January, I think that would screw up a lot of other things as well, because it would also mean that probably PoE 1 league, PoE 1 folks are also gonna be pissed a little bit, because that also means that kind of PoE 1 gets pushed back again. And also the whole fact about being, we had a 5-month league just in the last one, in PoE 2, and if this one is another 5-month league, and if it's end of January, I think it's almost, no, it's exactly 5 months end of January, right? And it 2 leagues in 10 months for a game that is this ready, honestly, to also be at some point be a full release game, and that is a game that is supposed to be like what it's supposed to be. I don't know what that means, but it would just be it would just be a little bit rough.
You can't have a 5-month league with only 3.21. Like we like if we're going to be doing more 5-month leagues, which obviously they don't want that, right? I think the assumption is they want to go to 4 months for always and like just get that consistent flow. But right now it just the 3.21 being the only patch. Like just if 3.21 is the only patch, then we want an early December 0.4 if it's ready, which I guess is the hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they have to either like what is it? They have to either make a short or like a shorter gap between Path of Exile 1 patches or a longer gap between Path of Exile 2 patches to get us back on track, right? Because if it continues in the 4-month cadence for both games, then we're always going to be about a month in between, which I don't think they want. They want the 2-month gap instead of the 1-month gap. So something's going to have to budge, right? Either this league for Path of Exile 1 needs to be a little bit shorter, or the league for 0.4 needs to come a little bit later, which I don't know. I think both are like, I mean, I guess probably the shorter Path of Exile 1 league is better for players because they're like, yay, more content sooner, right?
Yeah,
but delaying the PoE 2 league, especially when we're doing like we don't know, like we don't know how their staff is divvied up right now between the two games, but like we don't know how much content is coming in 0.4. Like, you talk about delaying from early December to late January or whatever. That's a lot of development time where you're like slamming in a whole bunch of new systems. So it's like there's also like the side of it where it's like if it gets delayed, it's going to be a way better patch, but we just can't have content droughts during these big, things,
Yeah.
which, yeah, that's the big problem. But
Especially over Christmas, it would be
Yeah.
not having.
I
I don't know.
assume
Not
we're getting a
having.
patch before
Yeah.
Christmas.
I would assume so as well. It just
I'm
financially makes
talking
sense.
myself into it.
We're trying to
I
will it
was
into existence.
I was violently disagreed with in the Thorns Discord that like they're going like Jonathan said during the like last several interviews they're sticking to this release pattern and they're not, and like in the past they've almost never broken their release patterns. It's only been recently that things have become like scattered because of the two games. So like I feel like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about your PoE1 experience real quick, Miso?
Yes, please
I
do.
mean, sure. So this league, I have basically put my foot down and was like, you know what? I need to be in tune with Path of Exile at 1 again. I need to be in, in the know, engrossed in it, just for like, my own interest's sake, but also content wise, it would be very nice to be able to have a channel where it's like every 2 months we get stuff, right? And then I'm just like, oh, let's go hype, and then we both, one, have fun, but also two, be able to draw in viewers for both games. That would be amazing. So I just like, you know what, let's just do it. I put my foot down, and yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. So I decided to play Flicker Strike and basically follow Mage Fist's guide for Flicker Strike. He is the Flicker Strike guy. He is the pox of Flicker Strike, basically. And he's doing Flicker Strike Champion, so I decided to go Flicker Strike Champion as well. Originally, I was like, you know what? We're not gonna, we're just gonna follow his guide. We're not gonna make our own builds, at least for now. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be chill, right? Well, unfortunately, Mage Fist's YouTube channel in between this time had gotten basically removed. He had a situation where somebody in his agency, I guess, was what the story that I'm getting. I'm not sure if it's true. I didn't hear it from Mage Fist himself. I heard it from chat. Somebody in his agency was basically posting up a bunch of copyrighted content on their YouTube channel. And as a result of that, the entire agency got taken down. So every person as a part of that agency got taken down because Mage Fist can't make revenue because I think he's from Russia. So YouTube can't pay him directly. So he needs a middleman with the agency to actually make money. So everybody from that agency got nuked. And luckily, Ziz and I think somebody else and the community, of course, got banded together and got his YouTube channel back. But as a result of Mage Fist's channel being down, I had no place to go to get a guide for like how to progress my character beyond the initial phases.
Oh no.
So there was a lot of just like, what do I do? How do I do this? I'm dying literally every map. How do I scale my damage? So there was a little bit of a discovery process there of like trying to figure out things on my own in a game that is super complicated. And the phrase that I would describe Path of Exile 1 right now is one that I hated because my dad used to say this all the time, but now that, and I didn't understand it as a kid, but now as an adult, I understand. And the phrase is, you don't know what you don't know, because that to me is Path of Exile 1 in a nutshell for anybody trying to learn the game, because there are so many solutions to a problem, but the problem is that there's so much stuff in the game that it's really hard to figure out the right solution for every single situation. Because is there a solution for it? I don't know. Maybe there is. There probably is, but I don't know what it is. So it's like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's how I felt with Path of Exile 1. It was just like, I'm having survivability issues. What do I do? I don't know. And then eventually, Mage Fist started streaming on Twitch, and he posted his current POB. I'm like, it literally was just one item that could fix all my problems. But I didn't know this item existed, so I didn't know what I didn't know. But the moment I saw it, I'm like, there it is. Put that item on, all my problems were gone. So it's been interesting doing this journey and like trying to learn the game. I am still nowhere close to knowing how to play PoE1. I'm at least somewhat knowledgeable about the build that I'm playing now, which is good, which I think it was a improvement, whereas before I just followed guides and had no clue. But yeah, it's very different. PoE1, And again, for context, I've played PoE1 for a long time, but I kind of stopped playing in like 2017. So my knowledge just kind of got like basically there's a huge gap in it. But PoE1 is it's while it is, it has the same roots as PoE2, the way you build characters and do everything is so different. It's like you have like I'd say like you understand some of the basic concepts going from PoE2 to PoE1, but then beyond those basic concepts, it's like a completely different landscape. It's just very different. Very, very different though. Even the way you build your characters, the way you scale everything, like, in PoE2. And it actually is interesting because playing PoE1 has gotten me to understand why GGG has made some of the decisions that they made for PoE2 in simplifying certain things. Where like in our like if you hadn't been playing PoE1 recently, you're probably thinking like, why is it so simple? Why is there not more depth and complexity? But then going into PoE1, I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense because trying to learn this is like trying to solve, a Rubik's Cube blind without any experience. Like it's some of it's tough. Like even the
Yeah.
basic premise of like trying to make money, right? Is like, well, you got to have this whole nuclear launch sequence and set up your atlas in a certain way and then also have like these things and that thing and like, combine these all together and finally you'll have a strat that, will make you money. But if you're not using that strat and also with this season specifically they nerfed ground loot, you're like not really making any money. But then in PoE2, it's pretty straightforward. Rarity and drop. Rarity, quantity. That's kind of what you do. It's one-stop shop, which, is kind of boring. I do want them to add a little bit more, but at the same time, it's nice that you don't have to like punch in a bunch of codes into, the thing for to launch that bomb or whatever.
I mean, you just perfectly re-described why PoE2 exists, I think.
Yeah.
It's just that's the exact reason why PoE2 exists and why PoE2 is very, very successful, even in its very, very unfinished stage. Because it takes systems of a basically perfect game, but very, very unapproachable game for a lot of people, and takes those concepts and puts it into a much more approachable, like pseudo armor or however you want to call it. And there we have PoE2. But yeah, speaking of PoE1 again, because it's also like the overlap or like something that we might be looking forward to getting in PoE2 as well, because I have not seen anything regarding PoE1 because I've been staying away for the last 2 weeks because I don't want to get drawn in because I know I can't play. I just saw today that there's like, since you also mentioned it as well, with the grounded and everything, the only thing I saw today, because it was on my Reddit or something, on my For You page on Reddit or whatever, that there is some sort of like loot drama and it's like related to the new breach, and we also have new breach as a talking point. So I would just like to know what that might be about and what like breach, the new breach is about in PoE1. Because I have not seen anything. I couldn't even
Before we dive
say
into
one
that,
thing. Yeah, sure.
but yeah, the breach. Yeah, we'll talk about the new breach. But yeah, for me, for PoE1, real quick, I ended up following Captain Lance build, and like watching his videos, like how he's like done his league start. I think he became my favorite PoE1 creator. There was something he said in one of his first videos, for his Cobra Lash assassin, where he said something like, he wasn't going to make a path of building because he didn't want to spoil the end game for the character. And that was just like, oh, that resonates with me so much. Like, I love that idea of like, I don't want you, because so many people talk themselves out of playing a build once they see what it looks like in Path of Building, and they see like, oh, it's gonna struggle here with the damage, gonna struggle here with stuff. And Captain Lance, he did say in this video that he didn't think it was going to be a great build. He thought he was going to potentially quit it fast, and he did. I think he made it 4 or 5 days before he ended up re-rolling. But I just love that approach where he was just
Yeah.
like yeah, there's like I don't want to spoil the character's end game for me. I want to have this journey and run into these problems and solve them on the way. And whenever I heard him say that in his Cobra strategy, I was like, oh okay, well I want to follow this guy's journey. I didn't end up playing Cobra Lash. I tried playing it with Cyclone because I'm a spin to win guy. It went as bad as you would. It did okay. It went fine. I killed a decent amount of bosses. I pushed further into the game than I have before. And the build could have been pushed a lot further, but there's just a lot of problems with Cyclone on a non-Slayer. Like, there's only so much you can do to get your AoE radius bigger, and to do that, you have to give up a lot of stuff that I wasn't wanting to give up. The damage got pretty good, you know. At first, I was playing EV. I was trying to do an EV version of his build, but I'm a big Delve guy, and I was just getting bodied in Delve with evasion. There's a lot of, like, anti-evasion stuff in Delve, so I ended up swapping ES, and that was a lot of fun. But I think I would have played a lot longer if I had a better build. If I would have like played just even his Cobra Lash build, I probably would still be playing. You know, it's very much similar to his build, but yeah, I had an okay time. It took a lot longer to get used to click to move than I wanted it to, but once I got used to it, it was fine. But the moment I swapped back to PoE 2, I was like, oh yeah, WASD is my jam. But I had fun in PoE 1. I just I don't see me once PoE 2 gets to the point like I already want to go back to PoE 2, and once PoE 2 is at the point where like we're not over it in a couple weeks and like re-rolling instantly, it's got actual end game depth. Like I don't see me playing PoE 1. I'll just once my PoE 2 main season ends, I'm probably going to be playing solo self-found for the rest of the league, especially if like the end game actually gets good. And then what we're talking about later is potential like PoE 2 mini leagues, you know, in the off season if we ever get fun little events that GGG does and stuff. Like I like it's not even a thing of enjoyment. It's just that like I already play PoE 2 too much. I don't have time. Like, Miso's right. PoE 1 is an unsolvable Rubik's Cube whenever you're a new player. And even for experienced players, there's probably still so much that's just like, wow, all the time to them and stuff. Like, I can't do that times two, man. I can't. That's just so much. Like, you would literally have no time for other games. Like, you were talking about how like you like to want to play Fellowship in the off season. You're not doing that with PoE 1 and PoE 2 playing both at the same time. There's no way. Like, it's just too much game for me. You know.
That's the
But yeah, that
exact
was my
reason
journey.
why that's the exact reason why I kind of decided for myself. I'm not ruling out that I'll ever like play PoE 1 seasons or PoE 1 leagues again. I've played still more, or I've still played like triple the amount of PoE 1 that I've played PoE 2 now. So I had so much fun in a lot of PoE 1 leagues. That's what you just described is the exact reason why I'm just limiting myself. I know this is like something that is very, very exclusive to someone doing content or like streaming the game, because people just playing the game for fun or whatever. Like, I have so much fun. It doesn't mean that I'm not playing for fun. But this just sounds so out of touch, because it's just, yeah, for us, or like for especially for Miso and I, who do this as a full-time job, it is actually a job, whether you have fun or not. So that's the exact reason why I went just with PoE 2, and I'm just gonna keep it open for eventual PoE 1 leagues. I'll probably play some in the future, but yeah, having that 2-month cycle, that will get exhausting after a while. And I think most of creators in our space, in the Path of Exile space, I would say, do it for now completely the other way around, and we're kind of or some of the PoE 2 PoE 2 streamers are kind of like a very, very rare breed. So especially like me and Miso, I would say, in terms of streaming, are kind of a rare breed, because we actually are always going to be the last ones in PoE 2, and a lot of the other streamers in the PoE 1 focus streamers basically do the PoE 1 league, and then when PoE 2 comes, they do that for like 2 weeks, which is, in my opinion, which is obviously super, super fine. Because I do understand how for some people, and I think, to go back to Lance, I think it was also Lance, or I don't know if it was Palsteron, but I think the comment was, which I very, very much resonated with, was for me, PoE2, even with all the improvements now, and I like see all the improvements, for me it's still like a 2 to 3 week game. And I do see that. I do see that a lot. So I fully understand. Yeah, right? So I fully understand that for a lot of players, whether they are content creators or streamers or not, that it is still like a 2 or 3 week game. And yeah, that's kind of the whole discussion we have kind of every week, that we all just hope that PoE2 builds upon the base that we have right now and make it a 6-week game, maybe like a 2-month game, because then the cycle can actually be insane to have like the 2-month cycle if you want to do that. But yeah, for me also, it would just be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's just so much more content in PoE1. It's, it's exactly what they say. If we weren't making a ton of builds, right? If we weren't out there just trying to, do a bunch of fun builds and like earning money to get the next build or the next thing, PoE2 probably would be a 2-week game for most of us.
Yeah.
It just, there's not enough content. Like, it's crazy because in PoE1, early endgame is up until like level 90.
Yeah.
Whereas in PoE2, 90, you're pretty much hitting the limits. You're like, all right, this character's already done. For me, I'm like 93, 94, and I'm like, I still haven't. There's still like 2 bosses I haven't killed. I haven't killed Uber Elder. I haven't killed Maven. I haven't even gotten like 4 stones yet. Like, there's a lot more to do. Like, it's crazy the amount of content.
Maven's who made me stop. I was just like, I can't kill her with this pitiful small cyclone radius, because every time I was trying to get near the brain, I was just like, when the puddles were on the ground, it was just too much with my little cyclone. It was just,
it's
I wanted to play a range build so bad. Oh yeah, I bet Flicker's awful on that fight.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because literally I have 0 control over my character. So it's like sometimes it'll just be like, I'm gonna teleport you into this beam and you can't heal anymore. It sucks. But yeah.
Yeah.
So there's Path of Exile 2 at the end of the day, if we weren't making a lot of builds, 2-week game. But
agreed. I've said it before, PoE2 is a build maker's paradise. Like, that's all it is right now. The only reason I've ever played it as deep as I do is because, like, it's a build maker's paradise. It's the end game depth. It's the same game as 0.1. It's the exact same game. It's actually worse than 0.1. So, like, in terms of like how hard the bosses are, didn't the bosses in 0.1 have harder or higher HP pools?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they nerfed it by half. So the ceiling for the game got even lower in 0.3 compared to the past patches.
Yeah. And what's cool about PoE1 is every single day, like, because I was just wanting to try out, like, I mainly played Delve. I love Delve. Like, I can't, like, I could talk about Delve all day. If it actually comes into PoE2, I will play this game for way too much. But I was looking at other mapping strategies, because you do have to map sometimes between Delves, and then sometimes you're just bored of Delve and you want to map. And like, there were so many days where, like, I would just get 2 to 3 YouTube videos from different creators I had never seen before that were just like, this is a specific delirium juicing strategy with, like, where you're only Alkin going tier 17s, or this person's only doing harvest. Like, there are so many different avenues where you can just degen and make good currency. And you don't have that in PoE2. Like, that was the biggest shocking difference to me, is like, if you want to make currency in PoE2, there's some okay ways, but the best way, there's really only 1 or 2, and the gap between them is so wide. Whereas in PoE1, there's just like 8, like, if you wanted to play any strategy, there's a strategy out there that will make you a good amount of currency that you can play the game the way you want to and have fun making currency. I made like over 50 divine in Delve only, just like deep diving Delve. Like, Delve, it was so much fun. And then I would still go to maps, and I was doing a delirium juicing strat for maps and making currency there too. It's just like, that's what PoE2 was like. Well, after playing PoE1, that's what I'm missing right now. Is like, I want all the content to be rewarding, and right now it's not all rewarding.
I think they have a really tough hill to climb of trying to add, more variety of ways to be able to make currency, but also without bloating the game too much and making it too complicated, to where, like I said, right, every single way of making money has a completely different atlas on your tree. It's not like changing a couple nodes here. You are changing the entire thing almost. And
different scarabs too.
Yeah, different scarabs and everything, right? It's there's a lot that goes into it. And that is overwhelming for a new player, where it's like, well, if I want to earn money, I need to learn the nuclear launch codes for this specific strategy. So they need to add variety. I agree. I really want them to add more variety and more viable ways to make money, but also try to make it so that while it is customizable, not too like hard and too convoluted to make it work.
So I guess we'll go into this topic right now then. So with the new Breach, Miso, I'm sure you've interacted with it a lot more than I have because you don't interact with it in Delve. It seems like it is an attempt at a much more simplified system. Is that like, do you get that vibe, or do you still think it's a very complicated PoE 1-esque to interact with? I have not really engaged much with it.
I'd say the original Breach was very simple, and this is a little bit adding a little bit more layers of complexity, because the original Breach is very simple, right? You see a hand, you walk over it, mobs flow out, and you kill them, right? That's original Breach. Now, new Breach in PoE 1 right now, and hopefully at some, well, I don't know, maybe not hopefully for some people, but it will probably come in some way, shape, or form to PoE 2 at some point. In its current state, there's three kind of ways that you're interacting with Breach. The first one is kind of like traditional Breach, where you walk on the hand, right? You see a hand, you walk over it, and then it starts spreading out, and monsters start spawning really quickly, and you have to kill the monsters really quickly. But in this version, there's a timer on the bottom. It kind of looks like, in my opinion, like, I don't know if you guys remember Diablo 3 and Greater Rifts, where there was a timer where you had to race against the timer and kill enough mobs to beat the timer, right? So that's basically the same thing. There's a timer on the bottom, a little bar, where you're supposed to fill it up and fill it up faster than the timer itself. And then if you end up filling the bar up fully before the timer runs out, then you get either 4 rare monsters that spawn in the middle of the Breach, you kill them, and then all the loot drops out afterwards, or you get like this little mini boss that pops out, and you kill him, again, loot drops out. It's very similar to original Breach, where I think right now Breach is still kind of like you're racing against timer, right? It's just that the timer isn't on the screen. It's just that if you kill the mobs too slowly, the Breach closes faster. So that's pretty similar to old Breach, but at the same time, it's different because it lasts shorter. Once you hit the timer, it just closes. And then the second one is kind of like a defense kind of situation where you're trying to defend Aelith, who is the person, the NPC that is your representing Breach right now. So there's like a big Breach thing hand in the middle, and I think she's trying to like purify it. So you have to click on it. She goes and starts, doing her little thing, right? And there's a bunch of waves. Usually in maps, it's 7 waves, and you have to defend her for 7 waves. If she dies, then the Breach collapses. Then you only get the loot for what you've killed, and you don't get the bonus loot, right? But if you do defend it, then, it again erupts into loot. And then the third thing is a hive, where you go into this area, which is kind of like the Zesh domain, honestly. It looks a lot like it. And then in the middle of the map, there is, again, Aelith, and you have to do the same defending her against wave of mobs. But instead of 7 waves, it's 24 waves. And there's a lot more monsters that spawn in. And then after you finish that, you have to basically escape the area. There are certain areas that are closed off, so you have to like find the right path and escape. So that's kind of like Breach right now. There's just, in terms of complexity, it's way more complex, right? There's
sorry, I meant in terms of like how the Breach tree itself is giving players easy access of gear. That seems like a way more simplified version of like getting loot that PoE 1 doesn't have before this. Like, it's raining. Like, that's what I meant, was the tree specifically was simple. The gameplay is definitely harder for sure.
Yeah. Well, the tree itself, so the Breach tree on Atlas doesn't exist right now. This tree that we're talking about is like the crafting mech that the League comes with. And yeah, I do think that it is very interesting and kind of reminds me a little bit of PoE 2, to be honest, with like the ease of crafting, because it literally is like you pick a couple nodes and you're like, okay, I want I want this to be only mostly show up with armors, mostly have like attack nodes or like defense nodes or like resist nodes, whatever, right? And when you put in your little combination, you click the little thing, it bursts out an item and it's based off of what you chose. It's like, okay, for the most part, these items are mostly going to have fire nodes, mostly going to have defense nodes, or sorry, affixes, fire affixes, mostly going to have defense affixes and stuff like that. It's really powerful. Like, compared to previous leagues, apparently, the gear that we're getting this league is like super high quality. So it's kind of similar to where like how PoE2 got like a lot of deterministic crafting,
Yeah.
where it's like a lot of the mid to low to mid tier items are kind of worthless. Whereas like you only start getting rares that are worth when you get to the really high end. It's kind of the same thing for PoE1, where it's like it's so much easier to get gear this league that, you know, the lower and mid end gear is kind of worthless. Like in the past, right? You get a 6 link, you're kind of pogging out. You're like, oh, snap, this is money. But right now, 6 links are not good unless you actually get some good stats on them. So it's interesting.
That's what Lance kept saying in his updates. I remember one of them, he was talking about how he got like a base for boots that he thought was going to like fund the rest of his league. And it was like going for chaos. Like it's just the tree was printing mechanics. And like I didn't engage too much with it. Because again, you don't do breach and delve, but when I would, like, you know, it was printing currency, it was printing good loot, and it felt like to me very approachable at a glance.
Oh yeah.
It felt like a very much
was.
like a PoE2 system.
I agree. It felt very PoE2-esque. And I like, you know, in my mind, I was like, this is like very strong, isn't it? Like, this is very like it's not like deterministic, like in the sense that like PoE2 is deterministic, because PoE2, like, as long as you have enough currency, you can make any item that you want, pretty much. You throw enough currency at it, you're gonna get the item that you want. But in this, there's still a level of RNG, because like it's like, oh, you increase the percentage of it dropping a fire item with a fire modifier by 1,000%, right? So it's not deterministic per se, but the chances are much higher of getting what you want. So it felt to me that it was definitely very much PoE feeling, which I don't know. It's fun, right? It's fun going in there and getting good loot. It's always a good time. So I think
I saw
overall,
Farmer day one get 20 divines from his tree, of
oh my
course.
god.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Day
The
one.
rich keep getting richer. I
Yeah,
swear to
always.
God. It's always like this.
He can't keep getting away with this.
He
It's also
does
now in
getting away with
PU1. How he can't keep getting away with it?
Meanwhile, my account
This
net
is-
worth is like 14 divs right now. And he gets 20
Wow.
divs just pooping out of the tree just like that, just by clicking a button. I can't believe this guy.
Damn, only
Well-
14 div? I make so much divine and delve.
I just do ritual, and I don't know. It's kind of inconsistent, but I
Oh, I saw the clip of you passing on a divine.
Oh my god, no! I made it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I made it exiled again.
Yeah, he was an exiled again clip of him scrolling
Oh,
past
no.
the divine orb on ritual.
That's why I don't
the
do
first time I
ritual.
saw it, I was like, he didn't miss the divine, but then there was one on the far right of the screen. I watched it back.
The thing is, that's ritual. Like ritual, usually the good stuff is on the left,
Is all
and the
the
bad
left, yeah,
stuff
no.
is on the right. That's
The
how it
divine
typically
was on
is.
the far right.
But
and
why
he
was the
just
divine on the
re-rolled.
far right? That made no sense.
Too funny.
That's why I don't do ritual. I need it on the ground, like on my feed, so I
He has to
can
hear the
just
tink.
pick it up. Exactly. That's exactly why I don't do ritual. But I think it just makes sense that they introduce a system like that into PoE1. Just hearing it from you now, because it is. They want people, or most people, they want more people playing both games. I think it will always be a good thing for GGG, especially. Why would they like inhabit themselves from having a community of like 1 million players or whatever that actually play both games? So it does kind of make sense that they introduce a system which counteracts a little bit of the thing that not only in this podcast but for most people has always been the main complaint about PoE1, which is the absolute bloat in it and everything that is just very, very convoluted and everything. And then just having a system like that where it's just like pretty easy and pretty straightforward, which you describe now as a PoE2 system. I think it just makes sense. It kind of goes into the theory that I had. I don't know if it was the last or the second to last episode of the podcast, where I said that there's definitely a trend happening where both games with every single patch get always like closer to each other, because now it's already starting that PoE1 is getting like PoE2 stuff, and PoE2 is getting more PoE1 stuff. I don't know. Eventually in 2028 or something, we'll just have just like two amoebas or something. They just,
3.
it's just gonna
They're gonna
it's just gonna
fusion
morph
Ha.
into one. Yeah, and then it's kind of funny to me, because I said it already in that episode. I don't know if there was ever a situation where the same company is basically putting out two different games, or two very very similar games in the same genre, and basically competing with themselves. It's definitely a very very unique situation that we still have here, even though from the systems they are still very very different. But basically, I don't know, like, it would be like Blizzard doing World of Warcraft and then doing another MMO while still doing World of Warcraft, which is it's kind of funny still to me that this is the situation that we have in now, that we are in now, that the same company is doing the number 1 ARPG and the number 2 ARPG in the world.
Yeah. It's interesting, and like, I don't know. It's so hard to tell whether PoE2 is having an effect on PoE1 though. Like, it's hard to exactly draw the conclusion. I think on the surface it seems like that, but like, also I think another thing that happened in between was, I mean, we always talk about Jonathan, being anti-fun or whatever, right? But part of me also thinks, like, is PoE2 the reason why we're getting all these, they're getting all these QOL features in PoE1? Or is it because Jonathan came into Helm and was like, you know what, Chris, your reign is over. We need to add these QOL. We need to add asynchronous trade. We need to, do all these things to make the game, more accessible. Like, I'm not sure. It's really hard to say whether or not it's like, again, on the surface, it feels like PoE2 is making that influence to PoE1. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe PoE1 could have gone this direction too, just because Jonathan has like different ideas for the game.
It could. I think, isn't Mark technically the game director of PoE1, and Jonathan's the game director of PoE2? Like technically,
I'm sure.
But I'm sure they both influence it.
Yeah.
I feel like they're both. I'm sure everyone at the company plays both games, so like I feel like it's like very much like us when we play PoE2 and we go to PoE1, we miss those quality lives. And they're the company that's quoted at saying, once you give a player something, you can't take it away. Despite them being different games, they're feeling what it feels like to have that, like, that they're still feeling what that feels like, like when you're missing those little quality of life moments. So I'm sure it's some of it, but I agree with you that like there's a lot of people who are trying to make it out to be like some like kumbaya moment where like these two games are going to form this perfect harmony, or like everyone's going to become one at some point. We're all going to be happy. I still feel like they're going to be two very different entities. And they're not going to influence each other as much as people are saying, but they're definitely going to be like, there's plenty of cross pollination before. I agree with you I agree with you, Miso.
And also just by the nature of having someone, as far as I know, or as I haven't heard anything different, most of the people that work on PoE1 also work on PoE2. It's just gonna be like, just from, if I think about like being a game developer at GGG, it's just gonna be hard not to easily.
They are rapidly
like
expanding, I heard.
Yeah.
And I imagine over time you will have people who more work
Yeah.
on one game as opposed to, like, I imagine more new hires are going to be PoE2 focused than PoE1, because it's a lot to ask someone to go learn PoE1 versus go learn PoE2.
Yeah, and then please now have like do the new system on this game now, after having worked on this system that perfectly worked for this game for 2 months. Now do it on this game, but no, wait, don't do this on this game because they're two different games. It would be just like super super hard. I don't know. It's kind of insane what they're doing. Like positively, because that they are so far pulling this off is kind of it's kind of crazy. Because I would have, like, as someone who hasn't played the last two PoE1 leagues, I would say, like, from the outside, both of the PoE1 leagues, the last two now, this one and the last one, have been very well received, as I like would have. And doing that while also working on probably what is going to be like the future of ARPGs, it's impressive. It's super, super impressive.
Listen, I'm okay saying that PoE 2 is currently the best ARPG on the market.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine saying
PoE1,
that.
you mean?
PoE 2, no. I said what I said.
You're going to say PoE 2 is the best ARPG on the
I said
market
what I
right
said.
now? That is a bold statement, sir.
I think 0.4 will cement that, without a doubt.
We'll see.
Damn.
We'll see.
Standing on business.
Yeah, we'll
Listen,
see.
I'm
We'll
copium
see.
up. I'm copium
I
up.
love
I want
PoE
0.4 to be a grand slam, so.
I love PoE 2. I'd love to see 0.4 propel it to the best ARPG on the market, but I think there is a really big hill to climb. There is, and this is not just because I've been recently playing PoE1 and enjoying it. I have been saying this since the beginning. I do think PoE1 is still, at this point, by far, by a wide margin, the best ARPG on the market. Even though I enjoy playing PoE2 more.
I'm gonna say
the difference is
this,
the PoE2 audience won't be like seething hearing that, but when you call PoE1 second best, you know.
I mean, imagine having such a subjective liking of something. Imagine that be the case. That's insane, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
I mean, I always say this, right?
How could anyone?
I always say this. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a shit eater. You just gotta admit you're a shit eater.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be like, no, I'm not eating shit. This is the most amazing thing in the world. And it's like, no, you're eating shit. But you know what? It's fine. I've played pay to win MMOs for like my entire life. That is really the depths of garbage, and I love it. But it's about admitting that you like that garbage rather than saying it's not garbage.
So you heard it here on the podcast. Miso X0 likes eating shit. There we go.
Hey, it is what it is. I admit it.
To be clear, by the way, because I know some people are going to be heated. I love PoE1. I had a good time playing it the last week. I am not saying it's a bad game, but I know just some people are going to infer that and just be like,
"Oh no, he threw up the defense. He threw up the defense shield." Or no, I love how you always have to preface with that. No, yeah, it's just it's the world we live in. It's like having like preferences and whatever apparently is something very, very controversial now. I always, like, just in general, this is not like a PoE1 or PoE2 thing. I always, like, I didn't even have that feeling for most of my life that I even listened to like those voices in my head. It only started obviously when I started doing like the content and streaming stuff, is when I actually like realized that this was the case, that people are this like heavy onto what other people like about stuff, because I never lived in that. I never lived in that world because, and I still do, I just do whatever the fuck I want. Like I ask myself, do I enjoy what I'm doing right now? And if the answer is yes, there we go. If the answer is no, okay. The only thing that has changed for me going into like streaming a certain game or whatever, yes, it is going to be when a new PoE2 league drops, even though I might be like, oh, this looks bad, I will still play it. Whereas as opposed to someone who isn't doing this as a job might actually say like, oh yeah, this might not be for me, I'm skipping that. But yeah, it's just like it's so funny to me. It's still so funny to me. And PoE1 and PoE2 is a perfect example of that. How crazy it is sometimes that people are this invested into other people's preferences.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the internet as a whole has definitely gotten more parasocial over the past, since COVID, though. I do think before that, it wasn't as bad. And then ever since COVID...
Wait, you mean Pokemon isn't my friend?
Wait a second. Wait, she's your friend too?
Wait, she said thank you though when I did my tier 3 sub last week. What? What do you mean? Okay, we're doing a whole other podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Well,
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a discussion that I don't think we'll ever be able to escape. Because at least as us content creators, like we still just get the random comments of like PoE 2 bad, right? It's like if I don't like something, right? Like I don't engage with it, right? Like if I don't enjoy a game,
It's the
like
opposite for me. I get PoE 1 bad. That's the that's the
really?
comments that I get a lot.
What?
Yeah, no,
Oh
it's
my
like
god.
I mean every time like I'm playing like I post like because I've been posting some like cross pollinating content. It's like like this is what my experiences in PoE 1, what I learned for PoE 2. So there's a lot. Like I mean, my audience is mostly PoE 2 players, right? So it's like
Yeah.
when I'm posting PoE 1, it's like I came into the game. It's like it feels so bad. WASD not being in there, or like oh my god, it's just a zoomy shit fest. Way better PoE 2. And then you have the arguments of like they should just stop working on PoE 1 and work on PoE 2. So like there's actually for me it's the opposite where most of my community is like yeah they should just dump this garbage game PoE 1.
I didn't try streaming
Yeah.
PoE 1. I don't know, like the Thorns Discord, just because it's like an off meta thing. We end up with like I've talked about it before. We got like a bunch of off meta creators and stuff in there, and like they're like those kind of creators are like build makers are gonna be enjoying PoE 1, of course, right? They're like obviously, and like my Thorns Discord is full of a lot of PoE 1 degens. So like, and like I don't know, I never see anyone ever say P like what I just said was semi jokingly like debate like comments, right? But like I don't think like anyone who thinks PoE 1 is bad is like that's ridiculous. I don't see those comments ever. That's funny that you get them a
Just
lot.
head into my comment section for like the past couple of videos. It's
Really?
it's
Okay.
interesting.
I watched your video. I didn't watch I watched it on my phone. I watched your video where you're talking about the one that scans the stash of all your current like what you have.
I
If we
want
get
that
that
for
in
PoE 2.
PoE 2, oh my god, that would be so good.
Yeah, I don't know if you know about this
Well,
Wealthy Exile Rabbit. It's a third party website that you can log into, like you connect your PoE 2 account or PoE 1 account to, and it'll scan your stash for all of the items and tell you what everything's worth. It won't tell you like
What?
equipment
Yeah.
but like
The net worth.
yeah, it'll be like
Like basically net
yeah.
worth.
net worth, but also tell you how it breaks down. Like you could be like,
Okay.
it'll be like, oh, okay, you have like a scarab that's worth like a div, and I'm like, what? How did that happen?
That's insane.
And then
It
you'd be
basically
like,
price checks your whole character.
Yes.
Like
yeah, for like the currency at least. Like,
oh, we need that. We need
So
that.
good.
People are gonna go for like no. I want to go for like #1 net worth. I'm the Elon Musk of PoE 2 or something. People are actually gonna go for that if we get that.
I've said
It's
this
just
on my
gonna be like-
channel. I've always wanted to be able to sort like the currency by like its value based off of like exalts or something. Like if you could set it to
Yeah.
like search by exalts and let me see like I would love that built into the game. I don't know like how hard that would be for them to set up, but like
I mean, that's also a good talking point because it would be kind of some sort of leaderboard. I think we've talked about this on a podcast before. We need leaderboards. I want leaderboards for anything in PoE 2 or like I just think it's like such a missed opportunity. It might just be me, but like I don't think I'm alone in this opinion. There's so many things where I would like to be like competing with other people. And I
Give me an
think this
example.
is just like something that Diablo 3 got very, very right with the Greater Rifts. Because that is like a
sure.
game in itself to push like the Greater Rifts and to go further and to go further, or like have
Let's delve.
stuff, for example, like Mythic Plus, yeah, Delve, for example, or have like have just like more type of content where it's like infinitely scaling even a little bit, and then we have leaderboards. This might just be a very, very like me opinion because it was just always something that I really, really liked. I always gravitated towards games that offered the opportunity to have like a certain ladder or a certain leaderboard. In Diablo 2, it was always just like the seasonal ladder of that season to have like the XP grind to move
That's
up
Poe
on the
Ninja,
ladder.
isn't it?
Yeah, kinda, but not really at the same time. You mean with levels and stuff, right?
Yeah, with like levels, you can see who gets first 100 or
Or,
whatever.
or for example, having like in World of Warcraft, like the Mythic Plus, and then you can push like that is very, very close to like Greater Rifts and stuff. I would love to have like little challenges as well, like just have these types of challenging contents, and then have leaderboards for that. Just the thought when it came to my mind that people would actually be like comparing their net worth of their character, because that would happen immediately if we had that. Or it's probably already happening in PoE1. If we had the wealthy exile thing in PoE2, that would mean that a dude like Farmer would probably now play 21 hours a day, so he can have in his stream title or have a challenge on his YouTube channel where he says, "I became the richest man in PoE2." So that's I think that's good. I think that would be fun.
I didn't even think about it on that perspective. I was just thinking about it. Oh, this is great because it lets you know like what like certain things are worth, because you're like, oh,
Yeah, that's how I want
is
it.
that item actually? I don't know. Or like you could have like you could be sitting on like divs worth of like exalt orbs or like alchemy orbs, and you didn't even know
There's
it.
so many scarabs.
Yeah.
Like that, I saw I was out of chaos 2 days ago, and I just was like clicking through random scarabs, and I had one that sold for like 56 chaos. I was like, oh shit, I've been sitting on this. Okay, it's like that tool would have been nice for it.
One of the things that we talked about last time with Farmer on the podcast would be nice if tablets turned into scarabs, or were like fixed as opposed to having a range. Would be nice.
I'm very, very hopeful for 0.4 in terms of endgame loop, because I think what they've done, and we talked about this like at length already, so I'm just gonna keep it short, but I think they've laid a good base now, and now it's time for gameplay loop. I think it's time. Like, just in my personal opinion, I couldn't give like two shits about more classes and more ascendancies right now.
Same.
I know people are gonna be super, super mad at me because I don't really care if they release Druid in the next update or not.
Same.
I still don't, because I think we need other stuff. We need endgame loop. Like, what am I doing with the Druid now in the next update if the endgame is still the same? I just think that's logical. That doesn't mean I don't want Druid to come. Obviously, I want Druid to come. I want Templar. I want Shadow, whatever. Like, I want everything. But I think the prioritization right now should be a little bit different. Although I think Druid has to come on the next the next league.
I think we're
I think the
people
assumption is different teams. Like
people are going to
developing
put on their
endgame.
furry suits and fly to New Zealand if the Druid is not coming. Like, I know Talkative Try is going to put on his bear suit, fly to New Zealand, and knock on GGG store if the Druid is not coming. Like, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. He's going to be like in his bear suit. He's going to be like, "Hey, Exiles, where the fuck is the Druid?"
I just assume it's different teams, so I just assume whoever's working on classes isn't working on the endgame systems, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Is the hope. But I'm guessing Druid's coming. I'm of the same mindset, though. Obviously, if we get Druid, that'd be sick, but my priority is a complete endgame revamp. Like, we need so much more stuff. Like, if we got only 2 new things, I don't think that's enough. We need, like, Breach, Rework, Delve, and then something else, too. Like, plus making everything else better.
Yeah, I think that the loop just needs to be reworked, right? I think that we've been sitting on the same endgame loop since 0.1. I think there needs to be something there to change. Yeah, for an entire year, we've been sitting on the same exact endgame. So people want a new endgame. Like, it to me, it's not surprising that a lot of these top streamers are just falling off the game so quickly, because in their perspective, because they're not, some of them aren't like making 5-10 builds, they're just gonna fall off the game after a week or two. It's like, this is like the same game. Why am I playing it again?
Yeah.
So
especially sense. If you're a one build Andy. Like, what I realized playing PoE1 is you can be a one build Andy, and like there's evolutions to a build where like you're like that you go through multiple different tiers of uniques. Like, this is what I'm doing at level like 89. This is what I'm doing at level 91. This is what I'm doing whenever I can get to 1800 intellect. Like, it is a phase after phase. It's way different. And if you're someone who's not like a build crafter, who doesn't want to go through multiple builds. Like, I get it, man. I completely get it.
Yeah.
The depth is not there at all, and we need it's a complete overhaul. Are we ready for the announcement?
Yes.
Are we doing it now? Okay, sure.
Okay, so we are excited to announce that we are partnering with Mobalytics, of course, to put on the Wraeclast World Tour #1. It is a Hideout showcase contest. This is the first time we're doing something like this, so we kept the rules very vanilla. I know there's probably going to be some complaints, of course, obviously, with all these competitions, but we wanted to keep it as simple as we could because we don't know what the community wants from competitions like this. We don't know if they'll even like a Hideout showcase contest, but yeah. So the rules are very simple. You have to submit your Hideout by November 19th. You have to create a quick 30 to 60 second YouTube video showcasing your Hideout. When you upload it to YouTube, just make sure you tag me in it so I can see it. I'm going to do a big montage of a bunch of all the hideouts that people submit. After you do that, you're going to then submit the video link, your name, and or not your name, your Discord name, and
we're gonna change up the graphic a little bit. The information
the graphic's a little bit wrong. Essentially, you're going to go to a form and you're going to submit a bunch of information to us so we can give you the prize if you win. The rules are you have to make the hideout in PoE 2. There are no cosmetic restrictions for this event, but we are making a statement of we are awarding bonus points to people who do not rely on paid for cosmetics. We want this first one to be approachable by as many people as possible. And there are people with so many PoE 1 cosmetics are just going to make, just these grand spectacle layouts that like your average new PoE 2 player won't have a chance at competing. So maybe that is like, there'll be like, themes and stuff for later events down the road, but for this one, like, keep it to as many of the free assets that came with the base layouts in PoE 2 as you can. If you want to add like a centerpiece that's using something cool from something else, you can try and do that, but we're just like, I know these are really loose rules for judges and stuff, but this is how we have to do it this time.
We're not restricting people from using more paid stuff. But it's just that, if you can make something really cool with mostly free assets, that's going to be bonus points. But at the end of the day, if you're going to deck your stuff out with like, some paid cosmetics and it just looks really, really cool, right? That's still going to be fine. Like, it's just that,
yes, absolutely.
If you're doing it with a completely free, then you're like, oh, wow, that's like extra bonus points.
Yeah.
And also, we should say we are judging it. So you already said assets, and in assets, there's already a word where I can foresee like a lot of the hideouts that will be submitted will be in there, will be with a lot of assets.
Oh, stop! No! Listen, you guys can submit that smut,
judging it.
We are judging.
We are judging it. It just means you can submit it. It will happen.
Yeah.
It won't win. It won't win. It will not be original because everyone else is doing it. I can tell you now, everyone else is doing it already. Everyone has the same gooner ass.
Yeah. We know the ass you've seen.
We are judging it, and we like good original stuff. I'm just gonna say it like that. It will probably not even make the stream. I'm just telling you. So better go and make like original, nice idea of your hideout to
maybe
actually
if you submit a silly one. Like,
silly ones for sure. Like silly ones, but don't do the same.
Make one of me wearing a tourist hat or something. Sure, we'll showcase that one. It probably won't win, but I don't want to see no big titties.
What do you mean?
Like that.
I mean, so what you're saying is instead of having the assets of like 2B, for example, have assets of Dead Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you need any reference pictures, hit me up on my Discord. I can give all of those to you. If you need any reference, I'm always down for
free. That's crazy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, hello. If you're blessed like this, oh god, oh that felt bad.
He's the sex appeal. We'll admit it here. But no, the prizes are first place gets 100 Steam bucks. I wanted it to be $100 because that's what the cost of the like bundles are for each of the leagues, right? So if someone wanted to buy one of the big new bundles that comes out, which does come up with a bunch of hideout cosmetics, you'd be able to afford that by winning first place. Second place is $50 Steam. Third place is $25, and then then we are each have a runner up that we pick. Like it's a judge's choice that didn't make it into the top three that will get a $10 card as well. Obviously, there might be terms and conditions that apply. I think Miso has said that like most regions should work with the cards we selected, but you never know. If you're in some like if you'll know if you're in a country that runs into these problems or not.
I mean, worst comes to worst, we friend you on Steam, and then we'll just give you the money through Steam. Yeah. There's a 3-day delay, unfortunately, if we do that. So hopefully we won't have to do it. But if it comes down, we'll get the money to you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The most important thing is this is like an event for the community. We're doing this like just to put on something for you guys and to give you guys something. So after this event has been concluded and stuff and while it's going on, give us your feedback on it. If you are someone who is deep into the Hideout layout community and stuff, let us know what you want from this community. We're not doing this for obviously it's partly for us because it's fun to do these kind of things, but we're doing this for you guys and specifically for the Hideout. Like we're gonna hopefully do other types of contests over the years that we're doing this podcast. But just let us know what you guys want from this contest. Again, this one's a very vanilla. Maybe like later on we do like themed ones where it's like you can only do it in the Lush Hideout or something like that. But let us know what you guys want. Shout out to Mobalytics. By the way, we are announcing the winners on November 21st. It will not be live. It says live on this sheet. We have to edit that. Miso will be in Japan, so we will be recording that offline and then just posting the VOD on YouTube. So you will get the winners announced on the YouTube VOD.
Yeah. And again, quick overrun, quick top down of the rules again. Give us a quick 30-60 second YouTube video showcasing your Hideout. Tag Kaltorak, fill out the Google form that we're gonna be posting, and the Hideout is gonna be due on November the 19th.
Yeah. One thing, we were originally going to use hideoutshowcase.com as a way to, like, you guys don't have to, like, upload your videos. You can just upload your Hideout to this website. The reason we aren't using that for this time around is because if you use that website and you use cosmetics that our accounts don't have access to, it like messes up the layout and you won't be able to show off how cool it is. Hopefully in the future we can find avenues around this, but for now it just again, it's the simplest thing we can do on the time frame that we had. So YouTube videos, I know some people are going to be turned off and like not participate because they have to upload a video, but just run around your Hideout for 30 seconds, and I will it'll be fine. It'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can unlist it too. You should be able to unlist it, and if you tag me in the description, I should see it.
They're gonna give us a link to the video anyways.
The doc too. Yeah, right. I set up that tag thing before we agreed on the doc, so that probably could be cut too. But yeah, I know uploading YouTube videos is going to be a turnoff to some people, but sorry. We'll figure something out.
In this day and age, everyone should have like at least like a very, very easy way of just recording their screen for 30 seconds. I don't think that's.
Don't feel the need to commentate
unregistered hypercam V2.
If you wanted to commentate it, I'm not saying you don't have to. You don't, but don't feel like nervous or anything. Like you can literally just do mic-less, 30-second, 60-second video, boom. That's it.
Yeah, just show us the Hideout. That's all we need to see.
But yeah, hope you guys enjoy the contest, and I don't think we'll be like showcasing. Maybe we'll tease some stuff over the weeks, but probably just we'll plug it at the beginning of each podcast, and then you guys will have the winners announced on the 21st.
Yep.
Cool. And shout out to Mobalytics. From the moment we haven't we obviously we're all Mobalytics partners and they partnered with us for this podcast, but from the moments that we approached them with we wanted to be a podcast, they have just been overwhelmingly supportive. From the jump, they were like, if you guys want to do events, if you guys want to do whatever, giveaways, whatever, let us know and we will support you. All the assets, they have been great, and the moment we approached them with this idea, they were like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Yeah. And then there's plenty more things they want to support in the future. So just Mobalytics is awesome.
And they also have a PoE1 part of their site now too. So if you're looking for PoE1 guides, they are also providing those.
Okay, let us move on. So let's talk about. So we were just talking about like ways we could spice up the off season, and Rabbit was alluding to like maybe like what something that he wants is some form of leaderboard system. Well, one way we could implement that is PoE2 mini leagues. We don't get mini leagues in PoE2 obviously because it's still in early access. It's probably a lot for them to think of like a throwaway league while they're still wanting to make the main game good. But yeah, PoE1 gets all these little mini league events all the time. What do you guys think we'll be getting anything for PoE2 soon? Like we talk about how we need to patch right now, like we don't get 0.3.2. Like would a PoE1 or PoE2 mini league fill that void for you in the time?
I think like overall, what's kind of the situation that we have right now in PoE2 is that it is a very very set of things that's happening once like a league drops. So far, the last two leagues, and I think 0.2, 0.1 mostly as well, was like, yeah, we get the league launch, and then we have one big patch, and that's basically it, which is still kind of very, very surprising to me in terms of an early access game, because I feel like there's not a lot of testing happening in PoE2 right now, which is very, very surprising still to me. I know this is like a this is
Beating the dead horse on this one, but yeah, okay, exactly. No,
not a deadbeat horse. That's
I will
something
talk
else,
about
right?
this every week until we start getting
eating
more
the dead
patches.
rabbit.
So.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. It's still that is still like very very surprising to me. So I don't have really really high hopes that we on top of that get like these mini type of leagues, because everything that we have gotten in PoE2 so far has been very very rudimentary, and it's just like very very slowly getting us to a more finished state of the game without actually having us like test all of these different crazy things, I think, which is still like a very very surprising thing to me in terms of how to approach an early access game that is supposed to launch at some point. Right now I feel like we just have 60% of a game basically, and then next patch we get 10% more, then we get 10% more, then we get 10% more, then we get 10% more, and then the game releases, which is, yeah, like I said, which is very, very surprising to me, because usually I would expect them to try out some crazy stuff, like have us test around more, and then they go like, oh, damn, I mean, the league is like a week old now, but let's just change that now. Let's fix this, let's nerf this, let's buff this. And then we go like, oh, damn. And I think at the same time, that would also keep leagues more alive. I know the reason why they are not doing it is because they've like nerfed one skill once in the first league, and everyone was just up in arms about it, because everyone was like, they ruined my time. I put 4 hours into this character and now everything sucks, and now I can't play the game anymore. I hate GGG. And now they are very very scared to do this, which is kind of crazy to me, because it's an early access game. Just like, in my personal opinion, again, they could do like everything. They could like completely fuck up Spark tomorrow, if it just means that they change some stuff around, and I can change this now and whatever. I know this is kind of not like the mini leagues topic right now, but it's just like what comes into my brain when it comes to like how a league could look like in this early access game right now, when like the big rush of the first 2 weeks is over. I don't think we're getting like these mini league type events. I think it's just going to be down to like private leagues to do a little bit of that sort of thing. I just wish instead of mini leagues, we would just get more stuff that is actually changing within the league, where it also just keeps the league fresh, and at the same time we get to test out some stuff, and GGG gets to get some data sets and see what works and what doesn't. Because at this point, it feels like we're just getting with every league, we're just getting a little bit more pieces to the pie that will eventually be the finished pie, but we're not getting like multiple tastes of different pie
Flavors.
types. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I feel that. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it always goes back to just wanting more patches. It feels really weird.
Never talked about that before.
It just feels very weird that the game is just in such an undeveloped state. There's just so much that they could just spice up. It, like the idea of talking about mini leagues is fun, because like like there's so many cool challenges we could do, but it just feels like if we're gonna do a mini league, you're right. Like what was it in like? Because even when we got the extra patch, was it 0.23 or 0.22 where they added a bunch of uniques, and even that patch was like it didn't change anything. Like 90% of the uniques were unusable. It made some of like the drop rates better, I guess, which was nice. It made a lot of the harder to chase. I guess that was a good change, but like
Yeah.
the only good unique was Palm of the Dreamer, and most people didn't get to play with it. So, um, like if we got it, even if we got 0.32, would it even be what we would want it to be? Because like, would they even want to do big sweeping balance changes before 0.4? Like I would hope they would, right? Like maybe they would want to start test like the bad leveling skills pre-patch.
Yeah. I mean, well, 0.22 when they added all the uniques, I mean, all the palms were pretty useful actually. Dreamer was probably the best, but the other palms were actually
Yeah.
pretty decent. And we also got was it the Last Lament in that patch too, which was also really good.
Oh, was Last Cement that
Yeah,
patch?
Last
Okay,
Lament with
yeah.
that patch. So
There
they
was a
did
lot of
add
good.
quite a few good uniques into that patch.
I
But
would love a patch like that.
yeah, but the thing is, like when I was talking about the idea of like mini leagues or whatever, right? Challenge leagues, it was really around the context of like trying things, goofy things for balance sakes, for like testing out new features. Like maybe they added a new boss into this league, or like changed how the bosses work completely, or made it so like the level scaling wasn't as high, right? Because like what. It seems like they really want to make Path of Exile 2 kind of like already a full release game, at least in the way that they're updating the game, right? So this would be a way for them to keep the league fresh by adding new content into these little challenge leagues at the same time, not having to do balance patches for the existing league. That's at least what I was thinking about when I was talking about potentially adding mini leagues. And of course, the best solution would be to just add balance changes to the actual league itself. But, it seems like they are pretty averse to that right now.
It
Yeah.
does feel that way. Yeah, do you think we'll
That's
ever get a PoE 2 Battle Royale? You think they'll ever revisit that mini game again? Did you guys play the PoE 1 Battle
I
Royale?
did
I actually had a
not.
lot of fun on it. I actually liked it. I was sad when it left, but I like Battle Royales.
Yeah.
I'm probably a minority there.
as
I thought it
long
was
as you
fun.
thank the bus driver. That's kind of exactly what I was saying as well, which is so weird to me because PoE2 is being treated like a full release game. That's kind of what I meant by it's just for me it's not really an early access or like beta game. It's like an unfinished full release game. Just like the way it feels to me
That's
because
how
of the
GGG's
way we're
operating.
getting. Yeah, it's like I'm not saying it's bad. I'm obviously not saying like we're like here. This is like a bad situation. If we would think like the game is bad or anything related to that, it would be bad or whatever. We wouldn't be sitting on a Path of Exile 2 podcast here because we all love the game so much. It's just weird to me that they have a very interesting approach when it comes to that, and it probably means that for the foreseeable future it will keep being a league launch, a big patch, and then that's it. That's it. Because at the same time, like I said about the balance changes or whatever, if they do a balance, like let's say the league is still going for another month now, which hopefully it is, or like in the best case it would now be another, let's say 5 weeks. Why? I mean, obviously this might be due to time constraints. This might be due to them working already on the next update and whatever. But why not have like some balance changes now? Most people are not even playing anymore in PoE2. I don't think it's gonna decrease player count even more if they now test out some balance stuff in the late league. Why not
I would
have
love it.
some crazy stuff? Because I would for sure log in right now and test out all the stuff that they've changed. I know the answer probably is that they are strapped for time and that they are working on 0.4 and there's just no way of doing it this way. I know that's probably the answer, but just in terms of like being this anti-balance changes mid-league, I personally don't get it in an early access game. as someone who plays most of the time builds that would be considered like broken or like on the top of the meta, I wouldn't have I personally wouldn't have a problem with them changing it. It's an early access game, and I think in the end we all profit from them actually testing this stuff out. I get how it's a little bit of a different thing when you've put like 8 hours or like 12, 20, 40 hours into a build, and then it basically gets ruined and you don't have the time to do a new build or whatever. In my opinion, though, that most of the time that doesn't happen. All the people that in 0.1 said their build is completely ruined, and the example for 0.1 was that they nerfed cast on crit or whatever with the comet. That was mostly nerfed, and everyone said Stormweaver build is dead now. Stormweaver was still the best build. Like most Stormweaver builds were still the best build in 0.1. It just shifted to another one that just took like a few days to figure out. So it's just total bullshit that people said, "Oh, all my time is ruined."
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not. It's total bullshit. Like no, it's an early access game, and especially at that case, I didn't really get all the being up in arms about it. It was the first patch. It was the first leak of an early access game. How can you complain about like them changing stuff?
I've
Huh?
talked about this on the
Like,
Tries podcast. That reaction, like, it shaped the development of this game, and in a
yes,
bad way, in my opinion. Like
yes.
that those first few weeks, we were getting weekly patches, and then since then, it has stopped. Now, this has been talked about. Like, I saw a comment earlier in the Twitch chat, and then we've been seeing it talked about in our little creator space. A lot of the reason, all of the problems we talk about comes, like you mentioned, at the time constraints they have, and that is just a world that we accept. That like we want both games to both games have to exist, but and they're a company that has limited resources and they're doing the best they can. But there's the topic of should PoE 1 be sunset for PoE 2, and I find the topic, at least right now, ridiculous. That PoE 1 does not deserve a skeleton crew. It deserves a crew that gives it what it deserves. I don't think the split between work should be 50-50 between the two games, but by no means does PoE 1 deserve to have like only the bare minimum of support to keep it alive. I find that completely ridiculous. So I think this is just a world that, like, if this is the world we live in where it's just these awkward periods where we're not getting balance patches, that is just what we like. I accept that. I'm gonna still bitch about it every week on the podcast, and I want more patches, but I believe that's just where we're at. And like, if it means that PoE 2 gets more patches by like sunsetting PoE 1, then no. I feel like this is just what we
Yeah.
accept, right? Even as someone who doesn't even want to play PoE 1 that much, like I just accept that I accept that people at GGG are people and humans who love both games and they want both games to succeed. And then there's players that like you don't turn away PoE 1 at this point. Like
No. That's obviously also just ridiculous. Like I get a lot of people in my community as well that are very PoE 2 focused, and I totally get it. But the whole thing about like, oh, PoE 1 has to die for PoE 2 to thrive, basically, that's honestly, I totally get if you don't like PoE 1, but still that opinion is ridiculous because there is so many people. Like, you just have to go on Twitch now and go into the PoE 1 directory and you see what I mean. Killing a game like that just because there is like a new opportunity on the horizon with PoE 2, it's ridiculous. It has to go the way it is going, and they, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, they are doing the best that they absolutely can, and hopefully they can hire more, even though the laws, which we also talked about on the podcast, there is a reason why GGG cannot expand as much as they probably would like to. Because of the New Zealand laws and everything. It is a very, very unique situation. I just think we need to be patient a little bit, and just, yeah, we're in a candy store and we're being spoon fed like two of the best candies available, and people still find ways to bitch and moan about that for some reason. I don't know.
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, the hope is that eventually, as time goes on, they will be able to hire more people and we will just not have to worry about these problems. Both PoE 1 and PoE 2 will have a dedicated team that will be able to keep up with the content needs for both of them, with both balance patches and things like that.
Yeah, I think that it will also be better. Like we talked about earlier, how like this schedule just seems very unstable. We're about to potentially be getting a PoE 2 0.4 patch 6 weeks after a PoE 1 patch. Going forward, once they like reset up that 2 month gap, it might allow for more bouncing and back and forth. But yeah, I don't I think that there's a world eventually where PoE 1 is ran by a much smaller team that probably only works on PoE 1 for the most part, but we're like years from that, like 2+ years from that. I feel like GGG is setting themselves up for this 4 month cycle for the next years of like they're just planning to do this for the next few years for sure. Um, I'm sure over time PoE 1 will get more simplistic patches though, right? Like, but
We'll
well, that
see.
covers what would you guys want from a mid league patch right now, I guess. Is it like obviously I talk about balancing the bad skills. Like I tried getting into the game yesterday, and I was playing my Witch Hunter solo stuff found, but then I got the itch to make a build, and I was talking in the Thorns Discord, and I was just like, someone give me a build to make, and someone said make Rain of Arrows good, and like touching that skill for 2 seconds, I was like, holy shit! Like there are just so many skills in this game. Miso, did you just release a video that was talking about that? Maybe that was an old short I ended up got in my feed. I don't.
Might have been
I
an
think I'm
old short.
tripping. Might have been an old short. But like, there's just so many unusable skills that are just like awful, and those could just be touched up. I don't like. Obviously, I want new uniques, but like, I would love a balance. I would level a new character right now with a buff skill. I don't want nerfs. I don't like. I hate anytime we talk about this. We have to preface with it like they always want to nerf the best builds. No, I don't want to touch anything at the top. I want to make the unplayable shit playable. That's what I want.
I mean, for me, I think, of course, builds and balance is always fun, especially as a build maker. But I do want to see, like, you know, since they are doing like a big end game rework in 0.4, it goes back to like the whole testing stuff. I would like to see little bits and pieces of them starting to try to feed in maybe like here's some more stuff, like, because they did that with towers, right? They basically, like, towers are, the way that we're doing scare, like, tablets and towers, I think that's going to get changed even more in patch 0.4. But kind of like that idea where they just throw out a little bit of like stuff to test and see how it goes, and then when the big patch comes with the big new season update, they take the data from those smaller patches and implement it into the bigger one. So I would like to see, if they were to do a mid league patch right now, which is looking pretty unlikely, them just implementing more potential end game changes that is like a little bit of a sneak peek or like a test of what's to come in 0.4.
What about you, Rabbit?
I think at this stage it would always be, my default answer would always be like endgame stuff. But since the situation right now is that we probably get like a big endgame league next patch, or a big endgame patch next league, my answer would always have been endgame. And also, but like I just said, I would also personally just really like if they go for some balance changes, and just like, especially in the mid league, and especially when the league is dying down, why not give Hexblast like a new way of using it, or like try to make Flame Blast better and usable, or like, I can think of so many skills right now where I'm like, yo, no one is using that. Why not just go crazy on those? Even though it might look like for the last 3 weeks of the league, then people are gonna post on YouTube like crazy Hex Blast build, or crazy Flame Blast builds, or like crazy Rain of Arrow builds, all of a sudden, where it's like, oh my god, but why not? why not? Why is that bad? So it's just, there's just so many skills in the game right now where it's just they are literally unusable. Where however you want to, like, even if you throw Mirrors of Gear onto a Flame Blast or Hex Blast build or whatever, it's just not gonna work. And I think that's just sad. And why not just go for that when the league is already dying down? Because who cares? who cares if there's some broken stuff in there then? So yeah, that would be mine.
Yeah,
I assume it's
agree.
someone with a marketing brain that thinks like, if we do this, then that's not a part of the big patch. That makes the big patch less hype. Like, we don't want to push
Yeah.
these updates out because if you see, your favorite skills getting buffed by 30% in the patch notes,
Yeah.
you're going to play then, right? So I assume
Yeah.
that's a lot of the reasoning is just like greedy marketing thinking, which is not
Yeah,
bad,
it's just it probably also just means they are accumulating stuff for the announcement stream. They just want to be they just want people like us, like we in the last announcement stream, just sitting there like
Yeah.
and if you do stuff like that mid leaks and whatever, you're taken, like exactly how you said. I'm just basically repeating what you said. It's just taken away from Jonathan sitting there in the announcement stream and being like, "Hi, we're about to blow your fucking minds for 40 minutes."
The crazy thing is a lot of those things just end up in the patch notes after the announcement. So like,
Yeah, exactly.
could just give us 20% buffs to some of these skills or something, but yeah.
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 Um
I think that makes sense.
Okay, let's talk about how long have we been going? I've lost track
About
of
an
the
hour
time.
and a half.
Okay.
Hour and a half, yes.
So let's talk about the PoE 2 player dip when the PoE 1 League launched. Miso, you have looked at this in the past, and there was a very brief dip, but then it almost immediately returns. It
Yeah.
does seem like there are a bunch of new people every once in, like I keep seeing comments of like, I'm trying it out this time. But it doesn't feel like we're actually getting that much bleed over. This league did do slightly better than 3.26, right? For launch day, but you would feel like it would be more. And then like the PoE 2 player base is immediately right back to where it was 24 hours later.
Yeah, I'll share on the screen right now what we're talking about. So this was a trend that I saw and I wanted to observe last league as well. But you can see right here, this is the PoE 2 Steam charts. Of course, this doesn't include console, but you can see that for the player base, right? It goes and it dips. This was the launch day of Path of Exile 1 League, right? You can see it dips from, I mean, it's not like a huge dip, but like a 2K dip, right? From the day before, from 23K down to 21K with the new, with the Path of Exile 1 launch. So some people are clearly going to check out Path of Exile 1, but then the next day, immediately back up, right? So it's like people are going from Path of Exile 2, checking out the new league, and then saying like, Path of Exile 1's not really for me. And then immediately back up. That's a pattern that I observed for this league and also last league. So I feel like it further solidifies like my guess of like, or my inference slash feeling of that a lot of Path of Exile 2 players are just not really interested in Path of Exile 1, or they are interested, but then they go in, they try it out, and they're like, yeah, this is not for me. I don't know. It's just like a very interesting trend that I've noticed for both this league for keepers and then also settlers, or not settlers, mercenaries.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see because it does seem like especially PoE 2 is pretty unaffected by PoE 1, which you wouldn't really expect. It just goes to show that there is a very large part, a majority part of the PoE 2 audience that isn't really interested in PoE 1 at all, I think. For whatever reasons that may be. I'm not saying like there's reasons for that, but I think it's just there. And I see it in my community every single day. Just people being like, yeah, no, I discovered Path of Exile with Path of Exile 2, and I'm not really... It's just like if you just completely remove all the discussion about better or worse or what is better endgame loop, what is better or what it's kind of the thing of you for the first time you play an RPG or you get introduced to PoE 2, and then someone goes like, oh, you like, I'm not like, this is not me shitting on PoE 1, but then someone comes like, oh, you want to play like the 10 years older version of this? Most people are gonna be like, no, why would I go to the older, like less polished version or whatever of this, why would I not just keep playing this one? And especially when the new update comes in, whatever. So it doesn't make sense, because most of these people are very, very unaffected by the whole thing about us saying, as well as PoE2 Andes still saying like, oh, PoE1 is probably the best ARPG ever. Like, still, I think most people are just unaffected by that, and just I think it just goes to show that it just means PoE2 is its own entity, and I think this is already like a very, very good success indicator for what GGG was trying to do with PoE2. It already shows that they have actually done something that was able to capture a whole new audience without really being that connected to the old one, right? So
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a lot of crossover people that play both, but yeah, to me, the number one comments I see the most is the speed of the game and WASD. Those are like the two biggest turnoffs. Like, you surprisingly don't see people complaining about the gem system. Like, there are a lot of the friction points of PoE1 that like we see as like experienced ARPG players or something that like the average player, like the more casual one, isn't complaining about. It's purely the speed or the fact that what was the other one I said?
The WSD.
WSD, yeah, it's like that's the number one. Like, if people who are because the chart that Miso just showed is people dropping ship after 24 hours. That is not trying it for very long, and it just they're immediately not connecting with no WASD, or it's just the speed, and it's pretty fast. Like, I was playing with Frostblink and Whirling Slash from level 4, and you're like the speed you're going, even without even pressing your Quicksilver, is just like it's not comparable. So like just from those two feels, I feel like that's just the biggest disconnect for most people. I do agree now with you two that like after playing WA or PoE1 again and thinking more about how WASD would feel with it, it wouldn't feel as good as I would hope, I assume. But we'll see what happens if it does get added. Some of the comments on our last podcast did say that GGG has confirmed or has said in the past that WASD is coming to PoE1.
Yeah, I think Jonathan said that in the Q&A for the Keepers of the Flame live stream.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm gonna go out of Olympia and I say I'm gonna stick with I don't think it's coming to PoE1. I'm gonna stick with that, even though apparently he said it. I'm gonna do the
so.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it here, and I don't think it's coming to PoE1.
Jonathan would never lie. Jonathan would never lie, Rabbit. Come on.
I mean, I'm not saying like Jonathan's lying or whatever. Sometimes, especially as game developers or like leaders of a huge company and stuff, you just say, yeah. Sometimes you just, especially doing like the amount of interviews he's doing. Like, I'm not saying like he's purposefully lying or whatever. I just don't think it's coming to PoE1. Yeah. And I'm ready to be proven wrong. Like every time. I'm ready to be proven wrong.
Yeah. Well, these complaints that I'm seeing, they're not just from like people like going in blind. There are people following a Pox build and stuff. Like, they're not like, putting themselves in bad situations and quitting because of that, like I did. They're following the build guides. It's just there's a disconnect with the gameplay.
It's feeling.
Feel.
It's feeling.
I don't think that's ever going to away.
Most of the time, it's about feeling. You play a game, whether it is an ARPG, MMO, or whatever. But sometimes you just you feel you play a game, and your bias is very heavily impacted by the game you played before or the games you compare to this game in your head. And then it's just like you don't have to write a dissertation why you don't like the game, and you don't. It's just like it's so easy. Do you like your time? Do you enjoy your time right now, or do you feel like this is like satisfying to you? If it isn't, I think most people just say like, yeah, no, it's not for me right now, and it's the best thing in the world. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you're right. I think it's a multitude of things, right? On top of the game not feeling how they would expect it to feel, the learning curve is also so high that it's like.
Well, that also means that there's so much to learn, and that's awesome for some people.
Yeah, some people are gonna really enjoy it, but I think just like at least maybe the modern gamer probably might not have the patience for it. If they like,
So I haven't tried following a Pox build yet, but is it, if you're a modern gamer and you're like hand holding yourself with a Pox build, like is the learning curve still that huge? Like again, I've never played the game in that way, but like if you're literally just following Pox's guide, would the game be like more navigatable?
well, I mean, it's just like a lot of people. Well, first off, I think there's a lot of people coming from PoE 2 going to PoE 1, which, like I said before, the way that you build your character is just completely different. So, like, even in the
Yeah.
early game, I hear a lot of people saying, like, I've died so many times and I'm only in Act 1. Like
Really?
the entire pacing of the game and the way that you move and everything is just, and how you build your character and your defenses and stuff is just very different. And a lot of it can be very jarring to a lot of people. So even if you're following a guide, if you can't get the past the original, like the initial, just like, how do I play this game, right? It can be a little bit tough. And like, with a gem link system, right? Even though you have a pox guide of like telling you, hey, you want to be using this gem along with these two supports. Well, how do I get those gems? How do I get those links, right? Then you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I guess it says I need this at level 2, but I'm level 5 right now, and I still don't have the links. I still don't have the sockets. So it's like there is just like a level of friction there that if you don't know how to get past it, then you're just like, why?
Right.
Like, this is like really frustrating. I keep dying. I can't upgrade my character. Like, what do I do?
Yeah, there's a lot of disconnects like that. With Pox, doesn't he like he starts with a witch to get a skill that he brings over?
Yep,
Like doing
exactly.
something like that is just such a horrible disconnect for like
Exactly.
even non-average players. So
It's
you're
funny.
right. Yeah,
It's
there's
funny
a lot
because
of stuff
like
like that.
it's funny because I've been having this argument on my stream recently with some folks. Like, and that's why I say, like, you know, starting Righteous Fire might not actually be, in my opinion, for a fresh player, the best start. Even though the guide is really good, there are things that you need to learn about from playing Righteous Fire. Like, for example, now you got to go start an extra character. A lot of people don't want to do that. And you can't start with the skill to begin with, right? You have to play other skills to begin with. So, and then later on transition. So it's like there's just layers of learning there that are required to play the build that you end up having to, learn. Again, it's all like there's a lot of stuff that you need to learn in Path of
Yeah,
Exile 1. At the end of the day, that's why it's really hard for somebody to get into it.
yeah. There's a lot of things you take for granted. Yeah, that you just
Yeah.
like someone wouldn't completely understand, like how vendor recipes work and stuff. Like that is just some classes just don't get like, yeah, there's a lot of disconnects. That's fair points. Yeah, it just makes
Yeah.
sense.
At the end of the day, I think it's like some people just don't even get past like the first couple maps because they're like, they go in there, it just feels very different. And like the things that they're used to from Path of Exile 2, it's very different. It feels very different. And they're like, I thought this was going to be a Path of Exile 2, but just, maybe a little bit like faster, but it's not that at all. It's actually funny. I had a comment on my YouTube the other day that was saying like, "Oh, I'm looking at your video. It looks like Path of Exile 1 is just like an easier version of Path of Exile 2. I might give this a try." I'm like, "Sir, brother,
Oh,
you are
07.
in for a rude surprise."
I think that's it for the shows. No one submitted build of the week, right?
Not really. I mean, we can. I can. We can. I have something to pull up, like, but it's not really anything. It's like Woolly's, the Riven Poison build, which I think
That's
at
cool.
this point
Sure.
most people know. But we can just pull it up. It's we've been kind of out of the loop with the Path of Exile for a little bit in terms of like looking things up. But this is like an older build guide. It's really cool. It takes advantage of a mechanic with I forget which exact crossbow skill it is. It takes advantage of a crossbow skill that makes it so that you're taking, I think
Riven
it's,
armor is what it
yeah, I think
applies. I
it's
forget the
high
name of the skill.
velocity
Yeah.
rounds, right? It makes it so that the hits that you inflict afterwards are flat damage, non-scalable damage. So what you end up doing is you hit it with the God, what was it? You hit it with high velocity
High
rounds,
velocity
right?
rounds.
And then you hit it as fast as you can, and he's using the Splinter of Lorata with Spear Field, just like super focus on attack speed on one hand, and the other one is just hitting it with as high damage as possible with the high velocity rounds to make it so that these bosses are just melting. So this was like really cool build. I kind of wish that it had come out a little bit earlier in the league, like it was
Same.
discovered earlier, because I would have loved to have experimented with this. It is just like a a really cool concept that, in my opinion, makes, I don't know. Again, we were talking about how you, for your like run and gun build, right? It could have been a potential application to make it actually be able to do a little bit better bossing. So it could have been cool to have known about this tech beforehand, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. We almost showcased it like a week or two ago. I remember you talking about it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we talked about it, but I never showcased it. But here it is.
Sick build.
It's really cool. It's like takes advantage of like a really cool mechanic that nobody really, I guess, picked up on, which goes back to like I think the topic of how there aren't that many people experimenting with Path of Exile 2 right now. And hopefully when the game fully comes out, we will have more people actually getting into the game and experimenting with things to where these things aren't really slipping through the cracks until the last couple weeks of the season, or when the season's dying out.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same way about the Righteous Fire Roa. Like, I just didn't have the willpower to push it further, but if it would have been found earlier, like, someone could have cooked up something really cool with it. And yeah, we've talked about it before, how there's just not very many people experimenting for many reasons, and I don't blame them, You experiment for like a day and then you're level 90 and there's nothing to do with the experimentation after that, so the turnover on builds is very high. But yeah, that's it for the podcast today. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Throw up the graphic one last time, Miso, for Wraeclast World Tour, if you could please.
Yes.
Just
go sign up.
Final shout out to this. Shout out to Mobilix for supporting it. Remember, you have until the 19th to submit your hideouts. We will have the document pinned in the comments or something, or in the description that you guys can submit to. Yeah, you guys feel free to submit them, whatever, up until the 19th, and then yeah.
Yep, we're
good
shout out
to Mobilix.
Yep, big shout out to Mobilix. We're going to review them, come out with some winners, and the winners will get prizes. So hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys have fun. And make some good stuff for us to see, because we're looking for some absolute art piece masterpieces, whatever you want. Or maybe, again, it could be assets showing Dead Rabbit's assets.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll be showcasing a lot of, like, on the back half of the episode, we're revealing the winners on. We'll be like showcasing plenty of them on stream or something, or we'll have a video of playing through them. Yeah, just give it your all. And again, most importantly, please give us your feedback on what you guys want from the Hideout community, of what you would want to see from future events, whether you want targeted themes or something like that, because this is very vanilla, because we want it to be influenced by you guys. There's many roles we could have done where like community voting for some of the winners, or like other different stuff, but we just wanted to do this one, and see what you guys want. So please let us know how you want this to be ran, because hopefully we'll be doing lots of this and other types of community events going forward. But shout outs, Rabbit. So Rabbit, you're not going to be in next week's episode. So next week, I believe it is going to be me, Miso, and talkative Yapative Try.
Oh my god, I've been replaced by Tank Top Try. I've been replaced. That's it for me.
Rabbit's gone forever. He's been kicked off the podcast.
Gone forever. Fired. You're fired. I'm gone. But yeah, next week's gonna probably be the most favorite podcast episode of most people then. So that's perfect. No, I will take a 2-week vacation starting tomorrow. We're gonna start in 12 hours or something, and then I'll be gone for 2 weeks. And unfortunately, we are going to Sweden. Going to Sweden. We're going to Stockholm, and also we're gonna then from Stockholm fly to the polar circle. We want to see the northern lights and everything. It's gonna be nice. I think last vacation I took was last year. So I'm looking forward to this, to actually not be at my PC for 2 weeks. That's gonna be nice. And see, look at these guys. You take one vacation and they already replace you with talkative try. Wow.
It is
Just
what it is.
just get replaced by a bigger YouTuber than I am. Look, wow.
And better looking.
Comment below what you think of that. Hashtag justice for Rabbit.
You're the one leaving us, man.
Yes, that's true.
So yeah, next 2 weeks are going to be a little bit interesting. Actually, next month is going to be interesting because, after Rabbit's gone, I'm going to be gone, but we're still going to be doing the podcast because we're going to be doing it as a recording instead of a live. So yeah, to be interesting.
Yeah, and I might be doing the production for some of them. I don't know if we figured that out yet. So like things might be goofy for the next few episodes, but we're going to keep trying to do them,
Yep. Got to keep pushing them out for you guys.
I mean, it's so amazing to see. Like we like this is episode 15, right?
15.
We're 15. And like it's already so amazing to see, and also just like a very, very big shout out to everyone who keeps coming back every week to listen to the podcast. And I think it's just something very, very cool that we have been doing this podcast for not too long, and there's already a lot of people that have given me the feedback, and also to you guys, that they are listening to it like regularly every week, and it's like already like something they are looking forward to even and listening to every week. That is just as speaking from myself, but I think I can also speak for Miso and Kall here. That is such a cool thing. I think that is awesome. I always said to Kall and Miso that I would do this podcast even though like 50 people would be listening to it. I don't care whether 50 people listen or 4,000 people listen. I just think that it's awesome to do. It's just a bonus that so many people are actually enjoying the podcast, and we're almost at 100 ratings on Spotify. A lot of people are listening on Spotify, and every single episode, like the worst episode we ever had was like 5,000 views on YouTube. It's awesome. Thank you all so much for for supporting the podcast, for listening, because you are stuck with us now. We're gonna do this podcast for a while now.
No, you've been replaced. You're not talking yourself out of being replaced. Sorry.
Wait, oh no.
Yapative try is perma now.
Wait.
It's too late. It's too late.
No. Stop.
No, I agree. I look forward to
me from the right side. Oh my god.
He's been working out just for that. Just to take you out. Oh, goodbye. He's gone.
The tank top too strong. But yeah, it's the same. Like, we could easily have we had to reschedule, and then I was a little bit late today. Like we could easily skip episodes each week, and MOBA wouldn't complain or anything. Like the viewers would be fun, but we just like talking to each other. It's fun seeing what we think about the game because we all think a little bit differently too. Miso, your shout outs?
He's back.
I'm back. I fought him. I won.
That's impressive. Try's a pretty buff guy.
Oh.
But all right, yeah.
Buff means nothing.
But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. It's super awesome. And hopefully you look forward to more content from us, and also share the podcast to your friends. Let them know it's an awesome podcast and they should listen. It's definitely, the more people that listen, as much as we we would continue to do this without, it would also be great if more people listen to it too. Because it's always fun. But yep, Miso X Shiro, twitch.tv/Miso X Shiro, stream every single night. Again, I'm gonna be out for 2 weeks starting the 18th, but we're still keeping the podcast going. And if you're
you IRL streaming?
I will be IRL streaming, probably 2 to 3 times a week. So if you guys want to see my adventures in Japan, feel free to tune in there. But yeah, Miso Shiro on Twitch, Miso Shiro on YouTube. Come check me out.
Yeah. And if you made it this far, again, go check out the Spotify and Apple Podcast. Please give us ratings there. We actually do pretty well there, surprisingly. When Misa told us the view numbers we got, I was actually like, whoa, wow, there are actually people listening to us on those platforms. So if you're one of those audio-only listeners and you haven't rated it yet, because I know there's a lot more than 100 people that are watching it every week, hit that favorite button for us. That'll be the biggest thing to do. And yeah, the Wraeclast World Tour. I'm pretty excited about it. Just share that with your friends. If you have people who make hideouts, or you've ever wanted to make a hideout, like seriously, I want to make a montage of all of the people who are submitting them. We're going to do a cool thing to showcase this stuff for you guys. And I really want it to be like a running theme, or like the start of every league or something. We bust one of these out or something. But yeah, Wraeclast World Tour. No shout outs about myself. That's it. See you guys next week. Bye.
Peace.